If you want to launch a product and you want to do everything yourself and you want to take small steps along the way, watch this video. Okay, everybody, Stephen Key here on inventRight TV, and I have a very special guest. Lowell, thank you for coming on inventRight TV.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, Laura, we talked, I think it was this week or maybe last week, and you showed me something, a little bit about what you're doing, and I was fascinated by it because you have a product that you're selling now, but you're
Yes,
also making it yourself,
that's right.
correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. Mhm.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about it. Tell me a little bit about yourself and about your product.
Okay. Well, a little bit about myself. I'm a retired IT professional. I helped turn around companies that were, when some of us may know, when the Y2K was happening, there was a lot of panic going on in the industry.
Okay.
People were trying to find their place on the internet. They didn't know. Brick and mortar companies were having difficulties grasping all of this. So I worked for a software company for a while, and I really enjoyed that. And that was bringing companies to technology and to the internet. In fact, one of our companies that we did was Amazon, and Amazon was selling books.
Okay.
They weren't selling any hard goods at all. And our company, IBS and Folsom, we introduced
Okay.
Amazon to how products could be sold out of a warehouse, like tools and things like that. They could sell other things than books. So it was fascinating to be involved in that sales cycle. But that was one that was several years. So anyway, that's what I did. A lot of that. Late in my career, I helped a company called berries.com, which is Sherry's Berries, a
Okay.
well-known Sacramento company. They were faltering very badly. They were trying to do what what you would do as an over-the-counter business, and they were trying to run the internet that way. It just doesn't work that way, right? So myself and somebody else came in to turn the company around. They were $2.5 million in the hole, ready to go into bankruptcy, and we came in, completely turned the company upside down using a methodology called um, uh, the the lean startup. Yes, the
Okay.
lean startup, that
Oh,
was the methodology that we utilized. And I'm referencing that too because that's what I used also to develop this tool from the start.
oh,
InventRight co-founder Andrew Krause here. This break will only take a second. Consider joining our Become a Professional Inventor program. It is only $349 a month. We'll make sure everything is done right on your project. You have great marketing materials. You're getting in the top companies. Not only that, we'll guarantee that you can get into companies. And our negotiation coach will provide unlimited negotiation support during your membership with us. So if you'd like to close that lucrative licensing deal at only $349 a month, please book a call with us. Go to inventright.com and book a call. Now back to the show.
so you've got this great career, and when did you start inventing?
I've always been that way. I was 8 years old, 9 years old probably, when television, I saw the first of TV, and I saw Gillette commercials where they were shaving their faces,
Okay.
right? And they were men and everything else, making them look really manly. And I asked the question to my dad, why don't they have commercials like this for women? Why don't they have a pink one that they sell? Why don't they? And my dad looks at me, he says, you have to write them, tell them what you think. So I did so, never heard from him, of course. But 2 years later, we had what is now a huge amount of business in
Sure.
that takes care of that need. So anyway, I've always been that way. I always look at things thinking, why doesn't that thing work,
All
as
right.
well as it
Okay.
really can? I do that,
So,
unfortunately, with everything. I aggravate my wife when that happens.
so where do you live now? Where?
I live in Dixon, California, which is right near UC Davis, and
Okay.
I've got lots of friends that go there,
Nice.
and I'm right into the ag business
Okay.
here, so I'm well situated here. So really enjoy living here.
So you came up with a product.
Mhm.
Let's talk about it. What is it, and what does it do, and what problem does it solve?
Okay, well, the tool that I came up with was because my dog started biting off my drip system in the backyard. She was out there as I was finishing almost 100 different plants because I completely redid my backyard, my dog started bringing these pieces up to me. She had chewed off. I had just put those things in the ground. They were brand new. I had nothing wrong with those, and I thought to myself, there must be a tool that helps you to snip them off, and that helps you to save the little barbs because, some of these drippers, they cost $1 or $2 and they're getting more expensive as they get more better technology. They're not going away. Right now, what's interesting is, the whole drip business, the whole micro drip business is an $8 billion worldwide
Okay.
business. And about half of that's probably consumer. And when we went into COVID, of course, right, people were locked in, they started doing gardening. And there were studies that were coming out that were saying, there's 38 million people that were never gardeners before. And I thought to myself, wow, some of those people, they must be into drip systems and do-it-yourselfers and stuff like that. Maybe a tool like I could create something, might very well work. All I really have to do are a couple of very fundamental things.
So what does your tool do?
Yes, what my tool does is I can show you, actually, it takes devices that are attached to drip line systems used in your backyard. Okay. Once these things come together, they can't come apart.
Got
it. You have to use a knife or you have to use a scissors of some kind. And what ends up happening is it ends up breaking the plastic itself in the actual dripper, so you can't reuse it.
Okay.
Right? So that's the whole idea, is to be able to have a tool, and to be able to have a tool that allows the plastic to fit into a channel. Okay. Then when you press down on the end where you have a very sharp knife blade at the very, very end. Okay. And what happens is that it goes ahead and lashes that or breaks that, like you can see this one here has, right? And then you're able to just take those apart, just like a chicken bone. And now you're able to reuse this part here. A lot of times people will soak these in a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and so forth, and reuse them again. But that's kind of the goal.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Well, what's really interesting about that? Where I live, up in Lake Tahoe, I have to fix my drip system every season.
Yes, that's right.
And I have to tell you, you are absolutely right. To take those out and replace them, it's a little bit of a problem. And you've got a very simple device that does that. So you created this device to help people with drift systems. But what I'm curious about, and the reason why I want to ask you a couple questions about this, that you actually manufacture this product and you sell it yourself, correct?
Yes, I do. It's what I call the Ishmael experience.
Okay.
Experiment.
All right. And you make them in your garage?
Yes, I do. Yes. That's right.
How do you do that? Because your product looks very professional when you show it to me. It looks like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So do you have a big tooling? Do you have blow mold? I mean, what do you have in your garage that you can make those look so good?
Okay. Well, I start with software, and that is SolidWorks is the name of the tool.
Okay.
It's the de facto standard that's used in the industry for developing things. I have a guy that goes to my church. He was into robotics, and he happened to be very skilled at this. I thought, oh my goodness.
Okay.
There's a guy who could take my block of wood that I have. I started with a block of wood like this.
Okay.
This is a piece of flooring
from
my garage.
That's your prototype.
Yeah, that was my prototype. Right there. And so you can take that an example of a 2D image, and then you can turn it into a 3D image, and then you can add features to it. You can cut it open. You can create it. And then you create all the different features that you need, but you need to, of course, do this in a very systematic and careful fashion, that you don't undo something after you have gone ahead to a next revision, right? And make sure that you're always progressing.
Okay.
So the lean startup helps you to stay within that to create what's called an MVP, which is a minimum viable product.
Thank you.
You've probably heard that before.
A few times, yes.
Okay, so that's what I use. So I start with that software, create that model, that what the piece is, and I ended up with 5 different pieces to make up the tool, and each of those pieces needs to go ahead and be printed on a printer, and that's when you use what is a flatbed. This is a flatbed here, okay? And what you do is you have a printer that creates a slicer, okay, of each of these different items, and it just goes ahead and prints them from a spool of plastic, and that spool of plastic uses about 35 ounces of plastic. It's almost like your weed eater, right? It's like a weed eater.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It feeds into the extruder, and then from there it goes onto the plate.
Wait. How did you learn how to use a printer?
Well, it was quite easy. I was a lot of good guides on the internet.
Okay.
And then this friend of mine who was skilled at using SolidWorks was able to guide me along to some of the final things. So yeah, that's how I got the training to be able to use it. They're really quite easy to me.
How much is a printer? What did the printer cost?
Printers cost around $400, and that's the one I have. I use a printer that's actually manufactured in Czech Republic.
So you got this printer. You've got the SolidWorks, so you use the software. You tell the printer how to print out the 4 pieces. How long does it take to print out the 4 pieces?
Right. It takes 5 pieces, and it takes about 4 hours to complete that. So it's about 4 hours of running time to complete. I think, let's see, it's about 4.5 hours to do the 2 sets of plates. So there's 2 at a time. So it's roughly 2.5 hours, I would say, to do each.
So it's printed
about 50 or 60 a week.
50 or 60 a week.
50 or 60, yeah, because I let them run it at nighttime by themselves.
Just keeps on running.
Yeah, they can just run on their own.
So if you wanted to produce more, you'd just get more printers?
If I wanted to, sure, that would be the way to go. And then the next step, of course, would be to go to plastic injection molding, would be to actually create a model of it, right? Yeah. And then now that's a very expensive process. The molds themselves for plastic injection run about $10,000.
Oh, so you can do this. You can test the market. You can sell it yourself. You control it. Okay, so you've got this printer going. It's going 24 hours. It prints them out, and then you put them together?
Yes, they're all, they don't require any kind of cutting or anything else. They come together, the 2 side pieces, and I've got a little super glue that puts those together. And then the other pieces, they slip into it. So yes, the other pieces just come together, and I've got I'm sharing with you as well my bill of materials, which shows all the different costs of things, and you're welcome to show that to people if you wish.
Yeah, we're going to show a lot of things that you sent to me. Thank you, because I think it's interesting. So once you get it printed out, how long does it take for you to assemble them?
Assembly time, I do them in batches of 24.
Oh, okay.
So I use lean guidance and doing groups of them together. So I do groups of 24 at a time.
Okay.
And the time that it takes to put one together is probably, I would say, about maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes at the most. Yeah, very quick.
So you print them out yourself, you assemble them yourself. What about that nice little label you have on there? I mean, you have this.
Very important. I designed a label, and again, I use SolidWorks. I use SolidWorks to design where the edges are, so it looks very nice how it comes out. So that label, of course, has a QR code, so that's very important, so people know where they can get to the safety information about it. And videos, I've got a couple of training videos and so forth that you can link to there as well. And so the label is very important part of things.
Looks very professional. Now let's back up for just a minute. You have a little sharp blade in there. Where do you get the blade that
Yeah,
cuts?
I had to decide early that that I need to partner with a blade company that was readily available for everybody.
Okay.
And I had to be able to be controlled as far as the size of it goes,
Okay.
and so forth. So I decided to go with, and I tested lots of different options, but I went with the Exacto number 11 blade, which
Okay.
is their most
Okay.
that's their most used hobby blade. And they also have two options for that in the stainless steel, which um, and a rust resistant steel. So I chose that
Okay.
as my blade of choice. Yes.
So where do you
Very,
buy
very.
those? You just go
I
down to
buy
the,
those from Amazon of all things. Yeah, I
okay.
buy them at about 500 at a time.
All right.
They're about $100, $101 for
Okay.
500 of those. So yeah, that's
Okay. So now you got your product. Looks really good. Good job. It looks very professional. I mean, it looks like it's like, I don't know, it looks like it looks beautiful. So,
thank you.
okay, so now that you've got the product and you can make them yourself, you can kind of do everything yourself, basically. How do you sell them?
Well, can I back up one thing before we talk about selling? And
Sure.
that is that when you're manufacturing this, you're always thinking about what the end cost is for shipping.
Oh,
Everything has to get shipped.
okay.
So you're very careful when you're designing this tool. Okay. I was very careful to take the carabiner option, for instance, and to make it part of the body so that it would not exceed 3 inches.
Oh,
Because I was really going for a package in a
okay.
pouch sold that's a
Oh,
4x6 size, right?
mm.
Which the US Postal Department is happy with, right? So they have to be happy to be able to sell that without having to put in another package. So anyway, that was another thing just to
Well,
keep in mind. That was before you sell it, you really need to make sure that that's true. And also weight, right?
okay.
My tool, I designed it so that it only weighs 1 ounce. So I'm at
So let's back up for a minute because I think
yes,
this is
sorry.
something that's really important.
Yes,
You took in consideration what blade you needed to design around that blade. That was common,
yes,
that could be
yes,
used.
correct.
You took in consideration of shipping costs, the
Hmm.
most efficient package to ship it,
That's
and
right.
the weight.
That's right.
You took that information, and before you started really designing everything, you took that information and designed around
Yes,
those limitations or those
yes, that's right.
tolerances, kind of,
Yes,
right?
yes, they are. Yes. Mhm. Very
Wow.
important. Before you actually go to sell, and then you get,
Okay.
so the whole idea then is moving forward. How do you sell this? The first thing is, you have to make sure you have to understand what your total costs are.
Okay.
You have to know where you are, every penny. And that's why when I did my bill of material, you'll see
Okay.
that I've costed out everything that's part
Nice.
of the hard costs as well as
Okay.
the soft costs and so forth. So
Very
that's
good.
all very important. Yep.
So you know your number, you've got the manufacturing down, and so now you're selling on Amazon. Do you sell on Amazon?
I've started. I opened my Amazon uh, uh, site on September 24th.
Oh,
Yes.
so
Yes.
pretty recently you've just got them.
Yes. Yes.
How was that?
And
Was that complicated or simple, or how was that process?
I'm an IT professional, and I've done everything with regard to warehouse management systems and all of this. This was hard.
What?
It was overly difficult, I think.
Why? Why did they make it
Well,
hard?
because I don't, the way I don't know, because I was trying to brand my product so that so it'd be protected by
Okay.
Amazon because they're very careful. They didn't like the fact that I was giving them my social security number and my sole proprietorship, that I had a business license in the little town of city of Dixon. And
Okay.
even though I gave them all that records, they denied my request a number of times, which is very, very disappointing. So, just
Okay.
there's these things within Amazon that
Okay.
are
Well, okay.
difficult to work. That's all.
All right. So let's talk about protection for just a minute, because everybody's always worried about that.
Yes.
What did you do in terms of protecting what you have?
Okay. Well, when I'm protecting it from a standpoint of legality,
Yes.
I of course make it clear that I have been able to patent this product.
Okay.
So I do have a patent, and it has about 22 claims that I was able to make
Okay.
with the U.S. Patent Office, and they finally approved that in January of last year. So,
Oh, congratulations.
and I had to be very careful before that as far as moving ahead and so
Okay.
forth with
What,
things.
what about the trademark? Did you trademark your name at all?
I did. Part of that was sent in to USPTO.
Okay.
That's in the process right now, and
Okay.
I fully expect that to get passed. And again, finally, I was able to get it to be approved by Amazon.
Okay. So let's talk about you're selling them, you just got them up there. And let's say time goes on and you're selling more than you can make. What do you do then?
Well, it happens automatically. Amazon will bring your product down. So
Okay.
they won't show your product anymore if you don't have inventory. Okay.
Okay, but let's say you want to sell
So,
more. Do you go overseas or do you find a US manufacturer? Have you thought about that at all?
not too much because I was hoping to be able to engage with somebody who would be interested in my license. I was hoping that if I got to that point, that I might be able to be having some discussions. But yes, I can move on.
Okay.
Not surely not. I'm sure this isn't something I want my grandchildren to be doing 10 years from now. When I'm passed away, because I'm
Okay.
already 74 years old. So for me, this is my last
Do
hurrah.
you, do you like doing it?
I love this. I am so engaged, but yeah, it's amazing. It's been a great ride, and I've just been so thankful how things have come together,
Okay.
and not at all at my pace. I fully thought that by now, that I would have had a Rainbird of the world that would have moved ahead and want to license my tool. I've got there was some interest with Fisker, which is of course they're really into lots of scissors and tools.
Okay.
And they themselves within their own product use a lot of these X-Acto blades themselves too. So I thought it was kind of a good deal.
Well,
So anyway, yeah, that's what I'm hoping to be able to do.
I, I think it's really smart to do the testing. You can see what people say. You can now go back once you have test results to go back and knock on some doors to see if there's licensing
Absolutely.
possibilities. But what I really like is that you didn't stop.
Mhm.
You found a way. You
Mhm.
learned a bunch of things along the way. You're having fun doing it, and your product looks amazing. So
Thank you.
when I first saw it, I was like, good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Okay, everybody, this is Stephen Key, inventRight TV. Lowell, thank you very much for coming on and
Very good.
sharing your journey with all of us.
Thank you, and welcome to go check out my website.
Absolutely. We're going to put everything down below. And you guys,
Yes.
if you need the tool, check it out down below.
Yes.
Buy it, support your local inventor.
Great.
Lowell, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.